Our speaker is the CEO of IQ Fulfillment from the United Arab Emirates. Please welcome Mr. Fadi Amoudi. Welcome, Fadi.
Hello, Ali. Welcome.
All right,
Good
you
to
may
be
now
with you
present.
guys.
Yes, the stage is yours.
Yes. So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Fadi Amoudi. I'm the founder and CEO of IQ Holding. I'm going to share with you today about what we're doing in our region, which is the Middle East and Africa, and how are we enabling robotics in our region. So, if we'd like to discuss to start with that, e-commerce in general is driving global trends. As we know, post the pandemic, e-commerce and within the pandemic, e-commerce exploded all over the world and globally. We had sudden spikes of 3x or 5x, whatever the demand was on before, and hence e-commerce is creating massive growth for many markets. So I'm going to carve out these markets in general and share with you how basically e-commerce growth is expanding all other markets in terms of e-commerce logistics, automated material handling, robotic warehouses, and AGV and AMR robots in general. As you may know, we are currently at 4.9 trillion market of e-commerce globally, and we're looking to achieve or for that market to grow to 6.4 trillion. So that's a massive increase in terms of global market e-commerce. That, of course, will trigger a lot of different sectors, and it will, of course, enhance a lot of different sectors in terms of robotics, automation, and so on. So you're looking at deployment of 50,000 warehouses that will be deployed and that will be deploying robotics in them soon. We're talking about a sudden spike to 4 million robots per year in 2025. So e-commerce in general is driving growth of the logistics sector. The logistics sector wants to basically disrupt the growth by, of course, enabling robotics in their warehouses. Now, if you take a look at the MENA market in general, it's the ideal market to entry with potential for e-commerce growth. That potential of e-commerce growth, of course, will trigger a lot of automation needed in these warehouses and a lot of robotic, of course, transformation projects. So if you take a look at UAE in general and Saudi Arabia and the MENA region in specific, okay, you're talking about a high penetration of digitalization and e-commerce, but in terms of 55% in the entire MENA region to 70% in UAE and 80% in Saudi Arabia. But if you take a look at the online penetration and what does that really constitutes of the omni-channel market or the commerce market, it's not even 2 to 3%. You see that there is tremendous potential of growth over there because it's all untapped yet. What we're talking about right now is the global market size of fulfillment transformation. So the total addressable market currently would be over $1 trillion. And we're talking about anything from fulfillment, last mile, first mile. So the entire infrastructure that supports this sector, which is the e-commerce sector. We're talking about 2.14 billion people worldwide are expected to buy online. And that will trigger, of course, a lot of other improvement and, of course, needs and requirements for transformation. The obtainable market in our region, let's say MEATP, which is Middle East, Africa, Turkey, and Pakistan, is around $15 billion yearly. Now, how are we going to deploy robots? Robots are amazing, but really, how are we going to put robots in use? And why would we put robots in use right now? We all know that robotics was always been in industrial and manufacturing and so on. But how can we put different kind of robots to use currently right now within the logistics sector? So if you take a look at the e-commerce sector, they're all struggling with rising demands, customer expectations. So on one side, you have e-commerce sellers that really want to maximize growth, but they can't because they don't have a unified logistics solution that is really capable to cope with this growth. So they tend to scale and go to fulfillment centers to scale them and support them. But on that sense, fulfillment centers right now themselves are in need of help because they're not really automated. Some of them are, of course, but they're not really transformed yet. So the sudden spike in demand in terms of the e-commerce sector is triggering most of those fulfillment centers and logistic providers in order to transform, whether they have minimal understanding of automation, whether it is their regular low accuracy rates, but they're tending to switch to robotics and automation in order to transform into the new digital era. Now, what do we specifically do in our region? We're trying to take the friction out of e-commerce. So imagine if you're sitting home and you want to sell online and you're in 5 countries. You'll have to deal with 5 countries, 4 providers, 3 fulfillment houses, 4 last mile couriers, and so on. What we're trying to give is give everyone a unified platform in order to transform that is built on robotics. As you can see from the picture below that, this is our current facility right now in UAE and under IQ Fulfillment. And this is the first robotic facility, and this is the first robotic fulfillment solution in the entire Middle East and Africa that we launched end of 2019. Now, how can IQ add value and help? Basically, we offer solutions. We're firm believers in offering solutions, not services. So our solutions are targeted for both e-commerce sellers and fulfillment centers or logistics hubs. So on one hand, our first solution, which is the fulfillment solution, which is an end-to-end solution for outsourced fulfillment and delivery under IQ Fulfillment. This is our own fulfillment hubs, robotic fulfillment solutions that we roll out, and we deploy a lot of robots in these solutions that we're going to go global with. So if you're an e-commerce seller, we can power you up by onboarding with us. For you, it's going to be an asset-light expansion model, whereby you pay as you go. On the other spectrum, you'll find the transformation solution that we have, which is anyone that wishes to transform from the regular brick and mortar into the new digital era. We can design a robotic fulfillment, a robotic automated solution for them for the entire back end under IQ Robotics. And of course, we have the entire teams on the ground to be closer to consumers in terms of HMI, PLC engineers, robotic automation engineers, WMS, OMS, and TMS, basically engineers and coders and developers on the ground. So we both have operational, maintenance, installation, commissioning teams all over. And of course, in between we have the hybrid, which is our partnership model, which is an asset-light expansion model that gives everyone the ability to transform. It's all built on robotics, so they're going to be manning our robotic fulfillment solution in all countries all over the world, and that's what we're taking global. Now, what I showed you earlier on is what we can offer in terms of solutions that are all based on robotic and robotic transformation, because robotics is the core DNA of IQ. In terms of what we can offer also in terms of robotic, IQ Robotics is the best of breed technologies, from AI-powered AGV robotics or AMRs, sorters, conveyor belts, automated labeling solutions, the entire software solution that is required for a robotic in order to put the robots in use. I'm going to share with you, this is one of the installations that we currently won in our region, and we deployed around 150 robots currently right now in this facility. This is more of a sortation robot that goes to 194 locations, but we built the entire solution out of scratch. Okay. Now, we're here to take people on a journey to unlock growth. So realistically, we want them to start fulfilling and operating with the IQ in our core markets. We would love them to expand internationally through our Q hybrid with our international partners that we have all over and that we will deploy all over. And of course, once they reach that scale in terms of having their own back end and fulfillment hub, we will come in and transform them with whatever they require in terms of their transformation journey. So we're always by their side through their journey. What is noted to be said here is that the entire journey is based on robotics. So there are robotics in IQ Fulfillment, there are robotics in IQ Hybrid, and of course there are robotics in IQ Robotics. Currently, right now, we're looking at a market that we are one of the first in-market movers in the UAE. Hopefully, we're going to be in Saudi Arabia as of next year, for sure. And we're going to deploy IQ Fulfillment. And of course, we're going to go open a big office for IQ Robotics and an IQ Robotics team in Saudi Arabia to start with. We currently deployed over 200 robots in a matter of a year and a half in UAE right now. And what is best is yet to come. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fadi. That was Mr. Fadi Amoudi. And congratulations on your recent award as 3PL of the Year. So I will definitely get in touch with you to see
Thank
how we
you.
can collaborate. And we will see you on the next session, which